microphone once your name is announced. You will have to check whether your name and code is correct, and also please do mention your presentation title so that I can double check with mine. So we'll start with presenter, code T07, code T01, Mr. Devanthiran Lechumanan. Is your name and code T01 correct? Okay, I think we don't have Mr. Devanthiran here with us yet. We'll go to presenter code T02, Ms. Balkis binti Muhammad Ismail Taj.
Yes, I am.
Is your name and your code correct?
Yes.
Can you please read out your presentation title?
Phase one. Phase one clinical trial to evaluate the safety of the supplementation of the oil furfuranilic as anti-hyperlipidemia agents on healthy subjects.
Okay, correct. All right, we'll go to presenter code T03, Ms. Vishalini Kasiraja. Is your name and your code correctly read out?
Good morning, Miss. Yes, it's correct, Miss.
Okay, and then can you please read out your presentation title?
My presentation title is Anti-oxidative and Anti-inflammatory Activities of Abelmascus esculentus, a review.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
And lastly, presenter code T08, Ms. Farah Amna binti Othman. Is your code and your name correctly read?
Yes, correct.
Okay, Ms. Farah, can you please read out your presentation title?
My presentation title is In Vivo Toxicity Evaluation of Bicalin Enriched Fraction extracted from Orosilium indicum using rats model.
Okay, correct. That's correct. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, sorry, I have a technical problem just now. Okay, my name is Devanthiran Lechumanan. I'm a participant code T01. Okay, my title would be Synthesis, Characterize, and Anti-Cancer Investigation of Copper Oxide Nanoparticles from Camellia sinensis extract. That's correct.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, since everyone is already here, AP Dr. Hasmah, is it okay if we start right now?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Mhm.
but before that, I'd like to give you all an announcement here. You may now, to all the participants, please mute your microphone and switch off your camera. Please keep your mobile phones silent as well. You may only turn your microphone and camera once requested during the Q&A session. Okay, so thank you. And since everyone is here, we'll just start right away. Salam Sejahtera and a very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the oral presentation for Room 9, Pharmacology and Toxicology. My name is Niva and I'm your MC in charge for this room today. So firstly, I'd like to introduce to all presenters our judge for today. We have Associate Professor Dr. Hasmah Abdullah from University Science Malaysia. All right, so before we start, I'd like to just remind all of the presenters regarding the instructions for your oral presentation today. First and again, please mute your microphone and turn off your camera. You can only switch them on during your Q&A session. The slides will be handed by the person in charge of this room. Once your slide video has ended, please turn on your microphone and camera for the Q&A session. Once your Q&A session has ended, please turn off your microphone and camera. Please also take note that the duration of your presentation is only for 10 minutes, followed by a Q&A session for 5 minutes. Okay, so with that, I think we will begin with the first presenter. I'd like to call upon first presenter, code T01, Mr. Devantiran Lechmanan, to present his research entitled Synthesis Characterize an Anti-Cancer Investigation of Copper Oxide Nanoparticles from Camellia sinensis Extract. Your video will be played now.
Lechumanan. Hi everyone, warm wishes and greetings to everyone. My name is Devantiran Lechumanan. I'm from Center for Research in Biotechnology for Agriculture, Sabah, University of Malaya. And I'm currently doing my postgrad studies in Master of Philosophy, mainly in science. My title of research is Synthesis, Characterize, and Anti-Cancer Investigation of Copper Oxide Nanoparticles from Camellia sinensis Extract. The first part of my slide, I will be presenting about introduction. So first, we start with cancer. Cancer is one of the most alarming case in Malaysia. As reported in Malaysia, 1:10 male and 1:9 female are at the risk of getting cancer. According to the Malaysian National Cancer Registry Report 2012-2016, breast cancer is about 19%, colorectal is 13.5%, and followed by lung cancer, which is 9.8%. Although there are many advanced cancer therapies or treatments available, such as surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and so on. However, these treatments carry side effects. Nanoparticle is a new technology which is being used in industry and also recently used in medical applications. So nanoparticles actually are a broad range of materials which consist of particles with a dimension of less than 100 nanometers. So what is the unique thing in the nanoparticle, which is it carries chemical, physical, and biological properties. And how is these nanoparticles functioning is with the larger surface area to volume ratio because of the smaller size. They are higher reactivity, stability, they are more stable, and they have mechanical strength as well. So the unique and the most interesting part of nanoparticle is their structure, the shape, and the size, which is varies according to the synthesis. So this helps in the application later. Nanoparticles can be synthesized using many ways, such as physical, chemical, and biological synthesis. However, physical and chemical synthesis carries toxic chemicals, dangerous byproducts, higher energy consumption, and also time consuming. So in contrast, biological synthesis, which is called green synthesis using plant, algae, bacteria, yeast, and fungus, they are more environmental friendly, natural, clean, non-toxic, and more cost effective. We choose plants as the synthesis method as these plants reported to carry anti-cancer, antimicrobial, and antifungal properties. And the plants also have bioactive compounds, which is phenol, flavonoid, alkaloid, and terpenes, which is being used in the synthesis of nanoparticles as natural. So there are many parts of plants such as root, fruit, flower, leaf, and stem. So this can be utilized in the synthesis of nanoparticles. The main research objective of my research is to characterize morphology, size, chemical properties, and the crystal structure of corpoxide nanoparticles from Camellia sinensis extract, to investigate the cytotoxic effect of biosynthesized corpoxide nanoparticles against cancer cells and also normal cells. And the third one is to determine the toxicity of the nanoparticles. The methods, I'm starting with collecting the Camellia sinensis tea leaves from Cameron Highlands. And the second one, preparation of tea extract, which is I use different weight of the tea leaves to prepare the tea extract. And the biosynthesis of nanoparticles using the tea extract as shown in the figure to form the colloidal corpoxide. And later I dry the copper oxide to form the copper oxide powder. And some of the characterization method that I use is PSEM, SEM, EDX, XRD, and FTIR to investigate the characteristic of the nanoparticles. And followed by cell culture, which is I cultivate breast cancer, colon cancer, and also keratinocyte SFM. And for my another study, which is cytotoxic test, so I use the cancer cells and the normal cells to study the cytotoxic effect of copper oxide nanoparticles. So this is the overall framework of my study. So the result shows that the tea extract, which is from the Camellia sinensis, contains higher content of phenolic compound. So I compare the TPC, the total phenolic content among fresh green tea, commercial tea, which is Lipton, commercial tea from Bo. So this is just a comparison study. And I found out that Cameron tea have more TPC value. And this is followed by PFC, which is flavonoid as well, higher content in the Cameron tea. And this is the effect of heating on the production of TPC and TFC. And for the characterization, I begin with the characterization using UV-Vis spectroscopy. So UV-Vis will show me or detect the presence of copper oxide, which is in the range of 30 and 40 nanometer. And this is followed by the PSEM, which is to identify or to study the size and shape of the synthesized copper oxide nanoparticles, which I get the size and the shape in the range. And followed by energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy, EDS. So this study shows the elemental composition of the copper oxide nanoparticle, which is mainly, we can see copper, oxygen, and carbon elements. And this is followed by X-ray diffraction, XRD, which study the crystalline nature of the synthesized copper oxide nanoparticles. And followed by FTIR, which is Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, which study the phytochemicals involved in the synthesis of copper oxide nanoparticles. And from this result, we can know that these are the components or the compounds from the tea leaves, which is responsible for the synthesis of copper oxide nanoparticles. And I continue my study to the cytotoxic test. So I use three variable copper oxide, which is synthesized from pH 8, synthesized from pH 10, and I use commercial copper oxide to study the cytotoxic effect. So the graphs here shows the IC50 values of the cells that I'm being studied, and this shows that RWPE quite responsive to the treatments in a dose-dependent manner, followed by MCF7 breast cancer and HT29 colon cancer cell lines, and the values are as written. And the discussion, The biochemical content of tea with TPC and TFC are relatively higher for Cameron and also the commercial teas. Copper oxide nanoparticles was green synthesized using tea extract was successfully synthesized at pH 8 and 10. And for the characterization studies, I found out that the size of the nanoparticles are in the range of 300 and 700 nanometer, and the shape are spherical. And the chemical composition proved that there are copper, oxygen, and carbon in the copper oxide nanoparticle. And the caping agent, which is from the plants, are phenol, catechin, caffeine, amino acids are responsible for the synthesis of copper oxide nanoparticles. And for the cytotoxic test, it shows that copper oxide nanoparticle inhibit the growth of both cancer and normal cell in dose-dependent manner. Higher IC50 concentration of both copper oxide nanoparticle with pH 10 and commercial indicates less harm to the normal cells. So commercial copper oxide is used as just a reference in comparison to the green synthesis of copper oxide. And I found out that interestingly, copper oxide nanoparticle green synthesized at pH 10 forms more spherical nanoparticles with smaller size and good chemical compositions, which potentially good for anti-cancer treatment. And for my future work, I'm going to proceed with apoptotic test, genotoxic test, and at the end, we can establish a potential copper oxide nanoparticle for anti-cancer treatment. And for my conclusion, copper oxide nanoparticles can be green synthesized using Camellia sinensis leaf extract. Second, controlling pH of the reaction mixture during synthesis produces a variable size and shape structure of the copper oxide. And more conveniently, alkaline condition produces copper oxide, which is efficient in anti-cancer treatment. And the results prove that green synthesized copper oxide nanoparticle inhibit the growth of both MCF7, breast cancer, and HT29, colon cancers with no harm to the normal cells as well. So that's why we use RWPE as a normal cell line to compare the IC50 values. And these are my references. And thank you for your kind attention. And not forgotten to thank my supervisors, Dr. Noor Hafiza from SEBA, Center for Research in Biotechnology Agriculture, and Dr. Suryani from Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, and not forgotten my late Prof. Dr. Noor Hashima Nagur. She has provided me a good space in doing this research, and to this end, I'm really appreciate to thank her, although she is not here. Thank you very much. And
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Devanthiran. Let's proceed with your Q&A session. You may now turn on your microphone and camera and pass it over to AP Dr. Hasma. You can ask your questions, Doctor. 5 minutes starting from now.
Okay. Thank you, Niva. And Diva, can I call you Diva or?
Sure, Prof. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate you. You have done a very interesting study, I think. Right? Congrats to you. Currently, you are pursuing your Master of Philosophy, is it?
Yes. Yes, Doctor.
Okay. All right. So, just a little bit background. I just want to know in what year you are now pursuing your master degree, your Master of Philosophy?
Okay, now I'm in the third semester.
So when are you supposed to finish it?
End of this year, Prof.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So I wish you luck.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay. My first question, actually, this is not really the question, something that you can think on your, maybe for your preparation in the writing thesis, something like that. All right. Why are you choosing the Camellia sinensis as your plan for study?
Okay, Prof. Actually, lately there have been many studies about synthesis using many plant types. So why I choose Camellia sinensis, because one is tea is a very common drinks among our Malaysians, and also Camellia sinensis we have our own agriculture, which is we are planting and we are exporting these Camellia sinensis. So I think this can give a potential result to show that actually Camellia sinensis carries these properties as well in the synthesis. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, do you know what is the problem with the polyphenol? what is the problem with the polyphenol when we consume it? Can you explain a little bit?
Okay, about the polyphenols, actually is a broad range of biochemical constituent in the plant as well, because initially it is actually a defense system in the plants. However, it also helps in the human building the anti-cancer properties as well. So consuming polyphenols in our body, it's not going to harm anything, but it's actually building our immunity, and also it giving us a boost in the terms of immunity as well, fighting against these cancers and also other fungal or any microorganism infection actually. Yeah.
Okay. And then do you think that why there are lacking of polyphenol to be used in the clinical? Why is it so?
Okay,
Do
Prof.
you know that?
Yeah,
Why
that's a good
with polyphenol?
question, Prof. Yeah, because why there is a very less extensive use of polyphenols in even in the pharmaceutical industry is because there must be a thorough study before we implement into a capsulation or into a medicine, so that it can be given to the patient as well. So I think the less or lacking of thing is a study which confirms, because overdose of anything of these polyphenols can also induce any toxicity in the bodies as well. So we need a correct concentration or amount that can be implemented into the patient, so that it can be used in the treatment as well. So I think a thorough study, and especially in the toxicity study, is very important, especially in the making of the pharmaceutical products actually, bro. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Diva. This is just my suggestion,
Yes, bro.
because your study can be further up to many objective future. So, because I can see the problem with the polyphenol is the bioavailability, right?
Yeah.
So, my suggestion, if you agree, you may discuss with your supervisor. Instead of going to cope with the side effect of the anti-cancer agent that currently exists in the clinical setting or in the market right now, you may also put the problem with the polyphenol is the bioavailability. So that by using the nanotechnology, it might reduce the problem with the bioavailability. That is why the curcumin doesn't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And then the curcumin, if we eat if we eat turmeric, for example, it may give a good effect. However, when it comes to the compound alone, it might have some troublesome in the absorption problem. That is the thing that I can see from your study.
Mhm.
So in order to bring this, you may discuss with your supervisor that something that you have to add on for your thesis is the problem with the bioavailability of the polyphenol, which is tea.
Yeah.
That is why when we drink tea and then immediately we take something, it has some conflict, bloating, something like that. Some people, they are allergic when they take tea, and then at the same time they take something, the other food, then some problem with the digestive.
Mm.
All right. So that is okay. Because we are going to my last question.
Yeah.
Eva won't allow me to.
Okay.
It's not okay. Could you please tell me again, how do you synthesize the?
Copper.
You use the cuprum oxide, is it?
Yes.
And then you mix with the tea extract.
Yes, Prof. Okay, the
Uh,
process is
uh,
like this, Prof. Copper nitrate as a precursor is
mm,
mixed with the tea extract that I prepared to get
mm,
the copper oxide actually. But initially I get
mm,
copper colloidal, and I dry
uh,
it into get to the copper oxide. But when we see in the commercial industry, it is like
mm,
a chemical process. They use copper nitrate with other like chemicals like sodium hydroxide or any chemicals to synthesize the copper oxide. So the outcome is still the copper oxide. However,
mm.
what we want to show here is the biosynthesis actually carries less toxic to the treatment when it comes to the treatment of cancer and also the normal cell, Prof. But it's actually the mixing and getting the copper oxide. That's the
Okay.
overall
What is
process.
the other chemical that can use to synthesize the
Yes,
is there
yes,
any
Prof.
chemical beside
Yes,
copper nitrate?
Yes, it's actually a process where we studied about acid and base mixing and getting a salt and water. So the salt is actually what I'm proving is the copper oxide that I get. However,
Oh,
it can carries in the different method. It can have different toxicity as well. Yeah, that's all, bro.
okay, okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And congratulations and good luck. All right, Ifa?
Thank you very much for your comments and questions, bro. Yeah.
All right. So, Ifa, that's all from me.
Okay, thank you very much, AP Dr. Hasma. Mr. Devanthiran, you can now turn off the camera and microphone, which you've already done. Thank you. And we'll go on to the next presenter, code T02, Ms. Nurbalkis Muhammad Ismail Baj, to present her research entitled A Phase 1 Clinical Trial to Evaluate the Safety of the Supplementation of Oil Palm Phenolic as Anti-hyperlipidemic Agents on Healthy Subjects. Your video will be played now.
Greeting everyone. My name is Nurbalkis Muhammad Ismail Tash. I am a student from the Pharmacology Department of University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Research that I'm going to present today entitled Phase 1 Clinical Trial to Evaluate the Safety of the Supplementation of the Oil Palm Phenolic or OPP as an anti-hyperlipidemic agent on the healthy subject. This research is supervised by Associate Professor Dr. Istinaina Muhammad and co-supervised by Associate Professor Dr. Qadria Haji Muhammad Saad. These are the content for my presentations. First, I will introduce what is OPP. During the early 2000s, the palm oil industry had caused so many environmental issues. Hence, various research was done by the Malaysian Palm Oil Board, the MPOB, to utilize this biowaste, especially the accused byproducts. In 2008, MPOB developed a novel process to recover the concentration of antioxidant content from the liquid byproduct and patent the whole process. The process involved use of three phases decanter system and a series of different types of membrane to separate the oil, the contaminant, and also the high molecular weight compound to produce the extract rich with phenolic contents known as OPP. OPP is rich with the phenolic content that may be contributed by the caffeoylscalamic acid, followed by the p-hydrobenzoic acid and the protocateoic acid. The previous preclinical research found that OPP has many therapeutic effects due to the phenolic content. Not only OPP has high antioxidant level, it also characterized as anti-tumor, anti-atherogenic, anti-hyperlipidemia, anti-immunogenic, and have cytoprotective effect. For the research, we focus to study the effect on hyperlipidemia. The previous animal study shows that OPP treated group produced better lipid profile than the untreated group. This study also shows that the low dose of OPP, when converted to the human dose 250 mg, shows better lipid profile compared to the high dose, the 1000 mg. From this study, it is concluded that 250 mg to 1000 mg OPP are safe to be consumed and effective as anti-hyperlipidemic agents. Thus, OPP has the potential to be developed and marketed as health supplement. But in order to do that, OPP need to undergo clinical trial. Hence, the general objective for phase 1 clinical trial is to develop OPP as the anti-hyperlipidemia agent by determining the tolerability of OPP capsule and to determine the safety profile of OPP supplementations by doing the hematology, renal function test, liver function test, and also on the lipid profile. As for the methodology, we started our trial by getting the FDA approvals. Then we register our clinical trial. In the same time, we recruit the Nexus as our contract research organization to assist us with the trials. Then we started our phase 1 by recruiting the volunteers around the Klang Valley areas. Then we screened them according to our inclusion and exclusion criteria. Then all the screened volunteers will be randomized into 4 different groups. Finally, we conducted our 2 month clinical trial at the HKMs. For the 2 months, there will be 3 interventions day, which is on the day 1, day 30, and also day 60. And And for each of the intervention day, we will conduct a physical examination by the doctors, and in the same time, we will collect the blood sample to run the hematology, liver function test, renal function test, and lipid profiles. All these blood parameters will be analyzed by using the SPSS to conduct the ITT analysis. This is how we conduct our clinical trials. After the recruitment process, we screen all the volunteers. We reject those who are smokers or vapers, had a habitual alcohol consumption, actively consume antioxidant, pregnant or breastfeeding, have a history of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, dyslipidemia, or any major illness, or if they are currently actively using antihypertensive or lipid-lowering medication. We only accepted volunteers who are aged between the 20 to 40 years old and their lipid were within the normal range. All the 100 healthy volunteers were randomly allocated into four different groups: Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D. This group represented placebo groups, 250 mg OPP groups, 1000 mg OPP groups, and 1500 mg OPP groups. And since we want to achieve a double-blind clinical trial, pre-managers were the ones who were responsible for the randomization process and also supplement encapsulation and packaging. Means here, we, the researcher, we do not know which group received which treatment. Only pre-managers knows. Only after the study ended, all the group will be unblind. All the volunteers were required to consume 4 capsules per day for 60 days. Moving on to result and discussions. First, we look at the baseline characteristic. The statistical analysis showed no significant difference in measured parameters observed between the group, indicated that characteristics of volunteers across the group were homogeneous. Next is the safety and tolerance. This table shows the positive feedback that we get from volunteers who are interviewed by their physicians. All the symptoms listed here were categorized according to the Naranjo scales. Naranjo scale is a causality assessment that is commonly used in controlled clinical trials to assess the link between the adverse event and the treatment received. The lowest dosage of OPP received the highest numbers of positive feedback compared to the higher groups, which is the 1000 and 1500. Some of the reported symptoms might due to the phenolic component of the OPP. One ETA proved that plant polyphenol able to lower the food intake, reduce the lipogenesis, and increasing lipolysis. Some of the volunteers feel a longer satiety. This might due to the retarding action of the gastrointestinal carbohydrate hydrolyzing enzyme that delay the carbohydrate breakdown and prolong the digestion time. A few studies found that OPP component able to contribute to the symptoms reported by the volunteers. Although some of the volunteers reported few adverse effects, most of these symptoms were very brief and occurred only once. After we stopped the supplementations and continued with the treatments, none of the reported symptoms reappear. Since there are very limited research data that can link the reported system to the OPP consumptions, Naranjo scale conclude that the systems are highly unrelated to the OPP consumptions. Next, we will look at the changes in the body weights. Only the control group shows statistically significant reduction from day 1 until day 60. However, because of the changes are very minimal, we consider they are not clinically significant. Furthermore, when we compare the weight changes between the groups, we found no significant difference. Hence, we conclude that OPP did not affect the body weight changes among the healthy volunteers. Next, we will look at the safety profile that include the hematology parameters, renal function test, liver function test, and the lipid profile. First, we look at the hematology parameters. All unit measured show no significant difference between the groups, and all values are within the normal range, indicated that OPP supplementation did not affect the hematology parameters among the healthy volunteers. The same finding was observed in the renal function test. No significant difference between the groups, and all the values are within the normal range. This indicated that OPP supplementation did not affect the kidney function of healthy volunteers. All unit measured in the liver function test are within the normal range, and no significant difference was observed between the group with the exception of the alkaline phosphatase. Using Turkey, we found that 1,500 mg OPP was significantly increased compared to the control group on day 60, although the values are still within the normal range. Hence, we propose that OPP did not affect the liver function among the healthy volunteers. Although the trial overall objective is to determine the lipid lowering potential of OPP, we did not anticipate any significant changes in the lipid profile in the phase 1 trial due to the hemostasis mechanism in the healthy volunteers. With no major adverse event and serious adverse event reported, and no abnormalities found in the safety profile test, we conclude that OPP are safe to be orally consumed up to 1,500 milligrams. This is our reference, and thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Balkis. Let's proceed with your Q&A session now. So you may turn on your microphone and also your camera, and we'll pass it over to AP Dr. Hasma to ask you questions.
Okay, Miss Fatin, yes? Miss Fatin, is it? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, yes.
Fatin, can you hear me?
Yes. Patel or Bakis, doctor?
Oh, but sorry. Okay, Marquis, can you hear me?
Yes, doctor, I can hear you.
All right, sorry, sorry, Marquis. Actually, Marquis. All right, okay, Marquis. At the moment, you are pursuing your master or PhD?
I'm doing the PhD now. Doctor,
You are
can
in
you
a
hear me?
PhD. What year you are now? Yeah, I can hear you.
The second year. The second year.
Oh, second year. So, what is the stage of your study? Are you at the beginning or in the middle, or where are you now?
My study has two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. So I've already completed the phase 1 and we are waiting for the phase 2 to be conducted.
Okay, because all right, I'm asking this because just now at the beginning of the presentation, you recorded the video, is it?
Yes.
Because it's not so clear.
Recorded the video.
Recorded the presentation or live presentation just now.
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, okay, it's okay. Because I cannot see the flow of the methods actually clearly. Just my question, did you produce the capsule or the capsule is being prepared by the company or some other parties?
The third party, the permanent access, is the one who provide the capsules. We just gave them the formulations to create the caps, to create every capsule.
Okay. So this is your second phase of your study, is it?
The one I presented is the phase 1, the first phase.
Oh, phase 1. So in the phase 1, you determine the dose.
The safety and the optimum dose. Yes.
Optimal. Okay. So what else? The other objective of your study after you've got the dose from the phase 1?
We will test about the regarding the efficacy of the OPP as an anti-hyperlipidemic. So we will
so you also will be going to test the obesity and
yes.
what else? Okay. And then I can see from the study because just now that you said that there are several groups involving in the study.
4 groups, yes.
4 groups. So because I can't see the difference between the groups. Can you explain to me again the difference between those groups?
The only difference between the group is the dosage. First one, we got the control groups, then the lower dosage, which is the 250, and then the medium dose, the 1000, and the highest is the 1500 dose.
Okay. Why are you use the normal person, meaning that the person without any diseases, the inclusion criteria, why those is being selected as the inclusion criteria?
Because phase one is because we want to test the safety of the our supplement. That's why we just recruit the healthy people. Only when we move on to the phase two, we will recruit the persons who have the setup condition that we want, like the one who have the high total cholesterol, high lipid profile.
Okay, okay. So any do you also conduct something regarding the how does the capsule can for example reduce or increase the total cholesterol or something like that? Is there any idea for that kind of theoretical?
Please, can you repeat the questions again?
Okay. Do you have any idea how does the capsule can act towards the reducing blood pressure, reducing the total cholesterol, for example, or reduce the fatty acid inside that will cause the toxicity? Any pathway that you know about this involving?
The proposed pathway is we still investigating the pathway. It's not quite clear from the recent studies lah.
Okay, all right, never mind. Don't worry about that. So beside recording the total cholesterol and whatsoever, do you also what is the main parameters for the toxicity assessment that you have assessed during the phase one?
We look closely at the renal function test and also the liver function test, especially the AST, ALT, and ALT levels. And then we
Okay.
also monitor if there is any side effect that was reported by the subjects.
So any observation, for example, something to do with the digestive system or some toxicity was that any assessment on that?
First, we look at the
Fatigue, headache.
Yes. For the first 2 weeks, we ask the volunteer to come daily to our clinical trials site to monitor if they like have a severe adverse reactions to the supplementations. So if there is any of them reported like the diarrhea or the nausea, so we will consider that as a adverse effect.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
All right,
please.
okay.
Asma.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Thank you,
All right.
participant. Okay, so we'll move on to our next presenter. We have presenter code T03, Ms. Vishalini Kasiraja, to present her research entitled Anti-oxidative and Anti-inflammatory Activities of Abelmoschus esculentus, a review. Your video will be played now.
Good day to the dearest audience. I'm Vishalini Kasiraja from University Sultan Zainal Abidin. UNIZA will be presenting on antioxidative and anti-inflammatory activities of Abelmoschus esculentus, a review. The outline of this presentation is introduction, methods, discussion, conclusion, and followed by references. Abelmoschus esculentus (AE) is a species of Malvaceae family. A flowering plant is an economically important vegetable crop. It is also commonly known as lady's finger, okra, and pendi. This multipurpose crop has different beneficial parts such as fresh leaf, fruits, buds, and also flowers. Moreover, it can be found all around the world. This polyphenol-rich multipurpose crop has a wide nutritional properties with health benefits due to its range of phytochemical components such as spanol and flavonoid. This shows a significant biological activities and also a pharmacological activities. Commonly, it is also used as ethnomedicine in various cultures. Different parts of AE plants consist varying concentration of total phenolic, flavonoid, polysaccharides, vitamins, and also antioxidant properties. Firstly, AE fruits consist of oxalic acid, protein, fats, carbohydrate, calcium, polysterol, flavonoid, tannins, phenolic compound, and also volatile oil. Specifically, phenolic compound in AE fruit consists of quercetin derivative, protocatachoic acid, and catechin derivative. AE fruits, AE mucilage also consists flavonoid, D-galactose, L-rhamnose, and D-galactronic acid. Moreover, defeated aqueous methanolic extract of AE leaf consists of 7-phenolic acid and 15-flavanol derivative. Furthermore, AE petals consist of 13 flavonoid glycoside, while AE pods consist of polyphenolic compound, carotene, and many more vitamins. Hibiscus esculentus exhibit a wide range of pharmacological activities such as antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, immunomodulatory effect, anti-fatigue activity, neuroprotective effect, anti-hyperlipidemic activity, and also antibacterial effect. Moreover, it also possesses a gastroprotective effect, anti-hyperglycemic property, without forgetting, and also the anti-cancerous effect. This image shows the different parts of AE plant, such as aerial plant, flower, unripe fruit, ripe fruit, seeds, and also root of the plant. This presentation is to review the current evidence on antioxidative and anti-inflammatory activities of Abelmascus esculentus. The content of this presentation is obtained from the up-to-date literature search based on the keywords such as Abelmascus esculentus antioxidative and anti-inflammatory from the database such as PubMed, Science Direct, and many more, with the inclusion criteria of in vitro in vivo studies and articles published after 2011 till date. Firstly, I would like to discuss on the antioxidative activities of Abelmascus esculentus in prevention of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is caused by the free radical or reactive oxygen species generation during the metabolism beyond antioxidant capacities. Overproduction of free radical is a key element of immune system's response to combat pathogen and develop tissue repair. This also leads to metabolic modification and development of many diseases besides DNA damages. The common diseases are heart diseases, neurodegenerative diseases, cancer, and aging process. Table below shows the antioxidative activities of Abelmascus esculentus and its potential mechanism. Firstly, extract from different parts of AE shows a stronger ability on scavenging free radicals and reducing ferric ion. Moreover, reduction in DPPH radicals and increase in ferric reduction is also observed from the flavonol component of AE fruits and methanol extract of fruit, flower, leaf, and seed. Besides, peel and seed powder treatment in streptozotocin-induced diabetic rash shows an increase in antioxidant and reduction in lipid peroxidase. Moreover, aqueous extract of okra seed fermented for 24 hours exhibited the highest ferric reduction antioxidant power and least IC50 for DPPH free radical scavenging ability. Moreover, based on the different fraction of AE pods, there are also increase in antioxidant level. Besides, aqueous extract of AE leaf also shows a significant antioxidant efficacy. Moreover, among the 3 solvents used to extract the AE leaves, ethanolic extract showed the effective free radical scavenger, reduced nitric oxide and ABTS formation. Moreover, 80% of methanolic leaf extract shows the higher radical scavenging activity and reducing potential. Next will be anti-inflammatory activities of Abelmascus esculentus. Inflammation is a host defense mechanism to maintain the tissue homeostasis under stressful condition, which is mediated by the immune system. It can be both acute or chronic, where chronic causes more damage to host than pathogen. Chronic inflammation-mediated disease such as cancer, allergy, asthma, and autoimmune lead to 60% of mortality. There are several pro-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1 beta, 6, 13, and also tumor necrosis factor alpha. Furthermore, nuclear factor kappa B cyclooxygenase 2 pathways are the common pathways involved in the pathogenesis of inflammation. Table below shows the anti-inflammatory activities of Abelmascus esculentus and its potential mode of mechanism. Firstly, lectin of the AE plant treated in carrageenan-induced mice shows a reduction in inflammation. Moreover, methanolic crude extract of AE seed-treated carrageenan induced in Swiss albino mice shows a reduction in histamine, serotonin, and also prostaglandin biosynthesis. Besides this, methanolic and water extract of AE fruit peels treated in the carrageenan induced in Swiss albino mice also shows the inhibition of cyclooxygenase enzyme. Ethanol extract of AE shows a reduction in pro-inflammatory cytokines and pathways among the treated lipopolysaccharide-induced BV2 cell line. Moreover, AE-lectin in formalin-induced temporomandibular joint inflammatory shows the inhibition of tumor nuclear factor alpha. Furthermore, there are also reduction in inflammatory responses is observed in the ethanol extract of okra treated in ethanol-induced acute gastric mucosal injury Vista-Rett. Furthermore, there are also reduction in neutrophil observed among the fruit extract of AE treated on the tooth extract wound in diabetic Vista-Rett. AE polysaccharide treatment in both chronic unpredictable mild stress-induced mice and lipopolysaccharide-induced BV2 cell lines shows the downregulation of pro-inflammatory pathways and rebalance of intestinal flora. Furthermore, ethanolic extract of AE using 4 different cooking methods on lipopolysaccharide or hydrogen peroxide treated macrophage cell line inhibits the pro-inflammatory cytokines and pathways. From here, it can be concluded that Hebelmescus esculentus has a wide range of biological and pharmacological properties, specifically antioxidative and anti-inflammatory activities. This is due to its chemical composition and phytochemical properties. Moreover, Hebelmescus esculentus can prevent the overproduction of free radicals, reduce the inflammation which is able to maintain the homeostatic balance of immune response that leads to healthy lifestyle. Further studies are needed to clear the ambiguities such as mechanism of Hebelmescus esculentus, and it can be suggested as an alternative therapeutic agent for oxidative stress and inflammatory mediated diseases. These are the references of the content in this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Shalini, for your next presentation. Let's proceed with your Q&A session. So you may now turn on your microphone and camera, and I'll pass it over to AP Dr. Hasma to ask the questions for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Niva. Okay, Miss Shalini, Vishalini. All right, Vishalini.
Good morning, Doctor.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you, Doctor.
So, are you pursuing your master or PhD?
Master's, Doctor.
Master's, okay. What year you are now? What semester?
First semester.
Oh, first semester.
Yes.
So that's why you do some review, is it?
Yes.
So what is your actual study?
My actual study is on anti-inflammatory and antioxidative effect of Hebelmescus esculentus on arthritis-induced model, specifically rheumatoid arthritis.
So who is your supervisor?
Dr. Noor Azwin.
Okay, thank you. So, all right, that's why I was wondering why you do the review instead of presenting or sharing with us your findings. So now I have the answer. Okay, so I wish you luck. You have done a very good review and it's really relevant to your future study. Okay, why are you choosing this plant as your plan for the studies?
Actually, I chose Hebelmescus esculentus, is also known as bendy. It's very common in our daily diet food because it can be easily get and it's commercial. So most of the part is also being used in ethnomedicine. So since rheumatoid arthritis is one of the aging process disease which is increasing in Malaysia, so we can consider to study the effect of Hebelmescus esculentus on rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay. You just now you said that this plant have some usage in the ethnomedicine. Is it?
Yes, doctor.
What is it? What was that?
Firstly, consider in leaf, it suggests in tumor
Tumor.
treatment in India, and then root is being used for syphilis treatment, while the fruit mucilage is being used for plasma replacement and also blood volume expander in India
Okay,
and
so
vaccine.
in your study, what are you going, which section of the plant are you going to use?
My focus will be on leaf, mature leaf, and young leaf and mature leaf, and also young fruit and mature fruit. So with the higher polyphenol rate, I will be choosing to study the proceed with the
Why
studies.
don't you use the roots? Because I think this plant is not it's something the seasonal plant, is it?
Yes.
So it's not hard to get the roots because from my opinion, the root is much more bearing a bunch of phytochemicals. That is my opinion. Because people can eat the fruits in
Yes,
the
sir.
cooking.
Yeah.
And then in terms of handling, in my opinion, roots is much more easier to handle compared to leaf because you have
Yes.
to get rid of the chlorophyll when you work with the leaf.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so think about it. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
In the review, you were comparing regarding the antioxidant properties of those kind of extract, and then much of the phytochemicals which contributes towards the bioactivity is the polyphenol.
Yes, sir.
All right. So the polyphenol compounds can be obtained in the other plants also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what makes this special about this plant instead of, I mean, because the other plant is also have the polyphenol, and then the bendy also bearing some a bunch of polyphenol. So why is this plant instead of those things?
Since it consists of polyphenol, like
Mm.
it's easily consumable compared to other plants.
Oh,
Because others we need to separately find it, but then this one is already in our diet, which is easily obtained for.
okay. So my last question. What would you like to suggest the public regarding bendy? Are you going to suggest them to use the extract or to use to eat the fruit with the cooking cuisine?
Uh, I've till I have the evidence on the extract, so I will encourage on the cooking.
Oh, okay. All right, that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Lady Dr. So much, Ms. Shalini. You may now turn off your microphone and camera. Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to our final presenter for today. Presenter code T08, Ms. Farah Amnah binti Othman, to present her research titled In vivo toxicity evaluation of bicline enriched fraction extracted from Oraxylum indicum using rat model. Your video will be played now.
Assalamualaikum and good day to the panels. I am Farah Amna binti Othman from University Science Malaysia. Would like to present about my research entitled In vivo toxicity evaluation of bicalin enriched fraction extracted from Oraxylum indicum using rats model. Traditional use of plant drugs, also known as herbal remedies, has been used in treatments of a variety of diseases. It has been estimated that 60% of the world population, both in developing and also developed countries where the modern medicine are predominantly used, opted for herbal remedies. The treatment of these remedies continued to receive increased attention because of the strong belief that the products are safe, easy to access, and primarily due to the economic reason. Lack of awareness and also no proper dosage monitoring, therefore, could impose toxic effect that might result from the prolonged usage. Therefore, it is very important to scientifically ascertain that these plants are safe and do not cause harm to the consumers by testing the safe dosage using toxicology study. Toxicology is the science of poison, which are known as toxin, where it deals with the nature and mechanism of toxicity and how a poisonous substances produce adverse effect on living organism and also other biological system. Health effects due to the exposure to toxic substances are typically differentiated based on whether the adverse effects occur after short-term or long-term exposure. In our study, we conducted two types of toxicity studies, which are acute toxicity and also subacute toxicity studies. In acute toxicity studies, it can be defined as intoxication that results from the effect of a single dose or multiple doses of toxicant given during a first 24 hours. And also for subacute toxicity study, it is due to the exposure to the multiple dose of toxin or toxicant given for greater than 24 hours but no longer than 30 days. In our study, we intend to assess the safety of bicalin, a member of flavonoid compound, where it can be found most abundant and also dominant in Orosylum indicum. Orosylum indicum, locally known as abeco, it is a medicinal plant widely distributed in Asian region, including Malaysia. It has been reported to possess many biological activities such as anti-cancer, antibacterial, anti-hypoglycemia, wound healing, anti-inflammatory, anti-adipogenesis, cardioprotective, and also enhanced neurogenesis. However, despite the widespread use and also proven biological activities of this compound, there is no reports and also toxicity and safety profiles of bicalin enriched fraction extracted from Orosylum indicum. So it was considered necessary to have some information on toxicity potential of this compound to maximize its benefits. Therefore, acute and also subacute neurotoxicity studies of this bioactive compound were conducted to assess its safety in animal model. So we started the methodology with isolation of bicalin from Orosylum indicum. After the sample was collected and also identified, we proceed with extraction process using binary solvent system, where we use two different solvents, which are petroleum ether and also methanol. After that, we proceed with fractionation process, where we use gradient mixture of methanol and also distilled water of different ratio to produce F1 until F5. After the compound was identified using TLC analysis when compared with synthetic bicalin, the compound was then tested on animal model. So here is the methodology of our toxicity study on animal. We started with sighting study using stepwise procedure. We started with the lowest dosage, which is 5 mg per kg, and then we proceed with the higher dosage if the rat survive at the lower dosage. So the other three dosage is 50 mg per kg, 300 mg per kg, and also 2000 mg per kg. After that, we proceed with acute and also subacute neurotoxicity study, where in acute toxicity study, it was conducted using the highest dosage where the animal survived from the sighting study, which in our case is 2000 mg per kg dosage, where the rats will be given only single administration and observed for 14 days. There, we will observe the mortality to determine LD50 and also behavioral observation, as well as analysis of biochemical and also hematological tests. So, acute toxicity study following guideline by OECD guideline 423, and for neurotoxicity study following guideline by OECD guideline 424. Neurotoxicity study using a dosage of 50 mg per kg, where we also observe mortality and also behavioral, biochemical, and also hematological with additional tests to assess the effect of this compound on the nervous system. So we are using a neurological functional test to test this system. So for the result and also discussion, for acute toxicity study, it can be said that there is absence of mortality and also treatment-related toxicity effect in behavioral and also external appearance of experimental rats, indicated that the lethal dosage, which is LD50 of this bioactive compound, is higher than 2000 mg per kg, and thus it can be categorized as the lowest toxicity class, which is class 5. For hematological tests, there is no significant differences except for RBC, hemoglobin, PCV, MCAC, and also platelet. However, all of these values are still remain within the normal range as indicated in table 3.1. So here is the result for biochemical tests. Almost all the values are remain unaltered except for significant differences in albumin in female treated rats and also ALT values in male treated rats. All of these values are also still fall within the standard reference range of laboratory as indicated in table 4.1. Let's move on to the neurotoxicity study. No treatment-related toxicity sign, behavioral and also mortality at the end of the treatment period of 28 days. For the minimal neurological functional test, we tested it using positional sense, gait test, and also rotor road test. For positional sense test, all of the results show normal value where the animal are able to pull back their hind leg to original position after being gently pulled. For gait test, the results are also show normal value where there is no abnormalities in rats working pattern. For rotor road test, there is no significant differences except on day 1 and also day 21 in treated rats. So these minor changes might be due to the environmental disturbance that induced rats' anxiety when the test was performed. So here is the result for hematological test. There is no significant differences with all the values still remain within the normal range. Same goes to biochemical test, also remain unaltered except for significant decrease in ALP value for female treated rats. And for the discussion, even though there are certain significant changes in hematological and also biochemical parameter in both acute and also subacute neurotoxicity study, all of these values are still fall within the standard laboratory range as indicated in the previous slide. Therefore, it could be assumed that the bioactive compound did not cause toxic effect to the bone marrow function, hematopoietic as well as immune system as indicated in hematological parameters, as well as an absence of hepatocellular damage and also cell necrosis as indicated in the biochemical parameters. As a conclusion, it can be concluded that BEF, bicalin enriched fraction, extracted from Orosilium indicum demonstrated the lowest toxicity class, which is class 5. No death, absence of treatment-related toxicity, no changes in hematological result, as well as only minor changes in biochemical as well as neurological functional tests, suggested that the rats received 50 mg per kg BEF did not induce neurological and also long-term toxic effect in animal model and thus establishing its safety in future use. So here is the references for this study as well as acknowledgement. And here is the appendix for herbarium voucher as well as toxicity behavioral assessment for both acute toxicity and also neurotoxicity study. With that, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Farah Amna. Let's proceed with your Q&A session. You may now turn on your microphone and camera, and I'll pass it to AP Dr. Hasmal to ask questions for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Niva. Hi, Farah.
Hi,
How are
Dr.
you? Okay. All right. So everything is fine right now?
So far, okay.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, Farah. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for having said that you have done part of your PhD study. All right. My first question, can you explain to me what is BEF?
BEF is actually a compound that we extract from Orosilium indicum, where BEF contain majorly bicalin extract from the Orosilium indicum. But when we do the assay analysis and also HPLC, we also detect there is another fraction of compound, and that one we will further investigate it using characterization of LCMS later.
So, how can you say that this fraction is enriched bicalin?
Enriched bicalin because the majority of the compound extracted from Orosilium indicum is come from the bicalin.
So, do you measure the content of the bicalin?
Only using HPLC, and then after this we will verify using LCMS.
So, this is my advice actually. Put your in the security part when you presenting your PhD. You have to know what is the percentage of the bicalin in the extract.
Okay.
Because if you didn't put any percentage, then we might say that this is only the normal extract.
I see.
There's no special about this extract with the other extract. Because you can say that this is bicalin enriched fraction. but you have to prove that the bicline is the major compound of the
Fraction itself.
fraction. So be
Okay.
careful with that, right?
Okay, Doctor,
Because
noted.
I just wondered just now, you said that bicline. Why are
Mhm.
you exaggerate the bicline words instead of the other normal extract? Okay. So
Okay.
in this regard, it seems like that is mimicking to the standard extract with the known composition of the compound. So how are you going to maintain? Because you are doing the animal study,
Uh-huh.
right? And how many times do you extract? Do you do the extraction?
So many times because the fraction actually involving 5 different fraction using a
Yeah.
different mixture of methanol, and then we found out that the bicalene, the highest percentage of bicalene are actually extracted from the fifth fraction, which is on F5. So F5 only produce about around 20% percentage yield from the crude extract. So I have to do so many fraction on the Orosilium indicum to get the extract itself.
So do you get the same percentage of the fraction when you do a few times extraction?
Yes, because each time when I collect the extract, I tested it using TLC and found the same band when compared with the synthetic bicalene.
What about the content? The
The
same
con.
band doesn't secure the content of the bicalene,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of course, they are bicalene, but people would like to know if, let's say, in the first extract you've got 20%. So when
Uh-huh.
you repeat the extract, you also get the 20%.
Oh,
Third time repeat
I
20%.
see.
It's a constant value. So this is something that you
Oh.
have to secure in your work, right? If not,
Okay,
we
okay,
cannot
okay.
say something like this now. So you have to also thinking of QC of the extract itself,
Okay,
the
Doctor,
quality
noted.
control to make sure that the constant percentage of the extract.
Okay. Okay,
This
Doctor,
is
noted.
PhD, is it? All right.
Yes.
So now you have to think, how are you going to say that this is the real bicalene enriched fraction, and this is different
Mm-hmm.
from the other fraction. For example,
Okay.
when we, let's say we buy something, the vitamin C, right?
Mm-hmm.
Extract of vitamin C. So we know the content of the vitamin C. And then second time we purchase, it's stated that the same content of the vitamin C.
Okay,
So
okay.
this is something that you have to think on, right?
Okay. All right, Doctor.
Okay, and then maybe my last, because actually I have so many things to ask you. Because this is something when we work with the extract, there are something that we have to ask
Verify.
about, all right,
Okay.
verify and so on. Okay, you said that you perform the acute and subacute.
Mm-hmm.
So so after you perform these two, then you go to the neurotoxicity.
Yes.
So you have
No,
to.
I perform the acute toxicity for 14 days. And
Mhm.
then after that, I proceed with subacute toxicity study. And that subacute toxicity study also evaluate the neurological function test.
So these two toxicity both are evaluating the neurotoxicity testing,
Only on subacute.
subacute. So that's
Ah,
why I cannot see in the flowchart it showed that acute study, is it, and then neurotoxicity, not subacute.
neurotoxicity is actually conducted using subacute duration, 28 days.
But you better recheck because I can see from the flowchart it stated
Okay.
acute toxicity, not subacute.
Okay, okay, doctor. I will check back on that
Right? So,
later.
okay, Niva, do I still have time?
Actually, time is up.
It's okay, that's all. All right.
Okay,
Super.
doctor.
Thank
Thank
you, Farah,
you.
and good luck for your future. That's all
Thank
for
you for
me.
your advice, doctor. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Farhamna, and thank you so much, Dr. AP, Dr. Hasma. And with that, we have now come to the end of our oral session. Thank you to all the presenters for your participation and cooperation. Special acknowledgement goes to the dearest AP Dr. Hasma for evaluating your research presentations. Thank you so much once again, AP Dr. Hasma. But before we end this session, right, may I request all the participants, along with AP Dr. Hasma, to switch on your camera for a virtual photography session. Okay, please give the PIC, technical PIC a few seconds, and meanwhile you can get ready to give me your brightest smile and nicest, most beautiful face.
Okay.
Balkis, would you like to turn on your camera? It's okay, I think we'll just take a picture.
Actually, I cannot right now. The camera is kind of problematic right now.
Oh, okay. So is it okay if we proceed
Yeah,
without
sure.
you?
Just go ahead.
So in 3, 2, 1, and say cheese pose. Okay, I think our PIC technical has got the picture. Just one more, this time freestyle. 3, 2, 1, and pose. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you so much. But before you leave the virtual room, I would like to remind all participants and maybe even AP Dr. Hasmah to join us back at the TPM for the plenary speech by Associate Professor Dr. Maizan Muhammad, closing remarks, and also the prize giving ceremony. To all the participants, please also we request you to fill in the feedback form via the link provided in the chat box. So please don't forget that. I repeat, please fill in the feedback form via the link provided in the chat box. And that's all from me. Thank you. May the best one wins. Bye.
Thank you, bro. Thank you,
Okay. Okay.
Eva.
Thank you.